Everyone is asking this question right now. Actually, they've been asking it for quite some time. Is masturbation bad for me? Is masturbation bad for my health? And if you look it up, the answer that you will find almost everywhere is a resounding no. But what if that is the wrong question? Maybe that's not even the question that you're actually asking in your head. This video is brought to you by my HarperCollins published book, Mind Over Explicit Matter. If you're ready to quit porn and reclaim your life mentally and physically, go over to drtrishleigh.com/book. The real question that almost every person that I work with is really asking in their head is this: is it silently hurting me even though I don't want it to? They're actually asking for permission, not really for information or for knowledge. They want the answer to be a clean and simple no. But unfortunately, it's more complex than that. After seeing 50,000 brain maps, even more, I know that the reality is it's not about that behavior being bad for you. What it's about is what it's training your brain to do underneath the surface. You know how this goes. One person can have a behavior, let's say masturbation, and they can keep control of it. It's not a thing that overtakes their life. There's no compulsion. Another person can have the same behavior, and in fact, it is hijacking their brain, moving into the driver's seat and slowly taking control. I'm Dr. Trish Leigh, cognitive neuroscientist. My agenda here is to help you understand how your brain performs so you can make good decisions for yourself and take your masculine power back. So let's dive in. Because once you see what's actually happening, you won't be able to unsee it. Okay, here's where it starts to get real. Let's look at this graph that I made. During masturbation, you can see that the reward system in your brain is being overstimulated. High spikes, right? This is what you feel as pleasure. But at the same time, the control system in the prefrontal cortex, well, it's going dim. It's not functioning in the way that it would in a healthy behavior. So here's the idea is that you think you're making a decision, but actually you're dealing with impulse control issues, less executive function, that's planning and organization and long-term thinking. Your brain is being conditioned for instant gratification over delayed gratification. So in the moment, you feel like you're choosing, but your decision making is offline. Neurologically, you're operating with less control. And then afterward, the reward system drops, but the control system doesn't spring back into action. In that lag, you feel it. You feel low motivation. You feel low energy. You're dragging. That's the part that if you engage in a compulsive behavior, over time, it makes you think that it's laziness. But instead, it's your brain in a temporary state. But if you go back to that temporary state too frequently, it becomes your semi-permanent state. It starts becoming your baseline. You probably feel it, right? You pull out your phone, you decide you're just gonna scroll for a minute or two, but something pops up on your screen and it catches your attention. That's on purpose. The algorithm is not neutral. So it pulls you in for high intensity stimulation. And before you know it, you've lost time. I have a client, this is a true story, that he told me that he became aware that he actually was preferring masturbation over spending intimate time with his wife. When she was going to go out for an appointment and he knew she'd be gone for a little while, he could feel this quiet excitement on the inside. That is not him. That is the hijack. That is the brain starting to drip dopamine and looking forward to that high, fast dopamine spike. But again, the crash will come real soon and will drive you back for more. Stay with me because In just a bit, I'm going to tell you what happened to that man's brain and life once he stabilized. Because he began to realize he was not in control of his brain or in control of the behavior. Okay, so to be really clear, this isn't about if the behavior is good or bad. It's about the role it's starting to play in your life. If it becomes a compulsion, it is driving you. And of course, when it's paired with novelty, high levels of stimulation, even if this is from fantasy, it will keep pulling you back in. Then we have life that's pushing you in. Before you know it, masturbation does not equal pleasure to you anymore. Instead, it equals relief. It no longer becomes something you just do. It becomes something your brain looks forward to help you feel okay or not bad. Your brain expects it. It asks for it without you even realizing. And what I'm telling you here isn't my opinion. It's validated through research. The same thing is seen in brain scans. During a sexual release, your pleasure centers, the reward centers, light up intensely. At the same time, the control centers dim. So, you're experiencing pleasure with reduced control. And after enough repetition, your baseline starts to change. This is when people really feel it. On brain maps, this shows up very clearly. It shows up in two patterns. One is called strain brain, I call it that. And if you stay in strain brain, that cycle of your brain is on and it won't turn off and you're starting to feel edgy, you need release. Then you get it and you're feeling flat and numb and low motivation. That's the cycle or the pendulum effect of strain brain. Now, if you do that long enough, you tip over into what I call drained brain. This is where you'll experience sexual arousal dysfunction, what I call SAD, erectile dysfunction, DE or PE. Your brain clearly isn't working in the optimal, stable pattern that would help you feel good or better than you do all the time. It's no longer spiking up and down. Instead, the baseline is higher and you can feel focused, on purpose, and have less anxiety each and every day. Because in the brain maps, I see it. This isn't random. Your brain becomes trained to need the behavior, and you can't feel. You can't feel your best for sure without it. So this is not about whether masturbation is good or bad for anyone. This is about, are you in control of the behavior? Your brain learns to go back for more, whether you want to or not. It also learns to push the intensity of stimulation, mental and physical. And the repetition is training your brain, whether you know it or not. That, my friend, is the miswire. So after going back to the behavior over and over, your brain becomes miswired to need it. And now you can see on this graph, we have spikes up, down, up, down, up, down. That's the pendulum effect. That's the loop. You will stay stuck in it, just like my client who couldn't wait for his wife to leave the house. You can see in this graph the regulation zone. That zone has a within normal limits band. When your brain stays within it, you can get up every single day with the focus and the drive that you need to create the life that you want and you deserve. You can show up in healthy intimacy and sexuality with your partner and enjoy it. Your brain's not looking for the thing you trained it to go back to. Because if you keep going in this direction, even though we've already said masturbation's not necessarily bad for everybody, but it might not be serving you anymore. Because at a certain point, you know you've lost control. You can know this by when you feel it on the inside, it's no longer a choice. Just like a roller coaster that you're going up and down. Once you step on that roller coaster, you can't get off until the ride is over, unless you make a different choice. Which leads us to the rewire. This is called neurological dysregulation. It's classified as brain dysfunction. So you can see that these spikes up and down create dysregulation. That leads to lack of self-regulation. But when you train your brain, those spikes can come down and your brain can organize and stabilize its pattern. Your brain, in fact, can rewire. You've trained it in one direction, now you can train it in the other. And when you do that, it leads to regulation in the brain that can be visualized, and it also leads to improved self-regulation. Now you're not rattled. Now you're not edgy. You don't need anything to take the edge off. You're not irritable. Your anxiety goes down, your focus goes up. And control, you're back in control because your decision-making centers, they are online again. How I help is I use top-tier clinical grade technology that you can use at home. This is an image of the Hubs doing his QEEG brain map at home. Yes, we use this technology ourselves. What it helps to do is to reduce the need for overstimulation. It restores calm focus again, and it puts you back into the driver's seat of your life, booting that hijacker out for good. Now, I think the best part of it is that everything is measurable. This is a graph of one of my clients. You can see that the alpha, slow alpha in his brain, that blue line, was very high when he started. And just a few days later, it already starts to come down. So what this means is now he's not going back to masturbation because he doesn't need to. His brain is regulating and he is on his way to achieving the goals that he set, which then allows me to meet with him and his wife once he's gotten over that, over that bridge into feeling and performing better. He's no longer distraught. His brain is working close to optimal, no more dysregulation and dysfunction, and he's back to business in his relationship. He said that his intimacy has never been better, and he no longer feels the shame of his secret behavior that he was keeping from his wife, and that he would literally have to tell her fibs because she'd ask, "Hey babe, what'd you do when I was gone?" You know the answer, so he had to come up with an alternate one. No more. He's back to business. So, your brain hack strategy for the day. This is how you're going to go from the hijack and the miswire to the rewire. You can use top tier technology if you work with me, but let's start with your brain being rewired through your mind and your body at home. It doesn't always work for everybody, but it's a first step in moving in the right direction. So, number one, reduce the overstimulation. That scroll that you're doing, it is leading you in the wrong direction. Instead, build a new habit that leads you in the right direction. Okay, for the next 7 days until you come back for the next briefing, I want you to see where your attention is being pulled, where you can feel that hijacker moving you in a direction, maybe not through conscious choice, but this slight pull or need from the inside. That's your brain screaming at you. Then hit the pause button. This may be difficult because neuroscience shows that once that dopamine starts to drip, you have 3 seconds to pivot. So use those 3 seconds and get moving in the opposite direction. That direction, of course, is a replacement. We are building a new identity here that doesn't include compulsive masturbation. That can be challenging, right? But when you replace masturbation when your partner leaves with mowing the lawn, if you're a lawn farmer, or by getting out and playing pickleball, that's going to feed your need for dopamine from the inside out, not going to something external. This way you can bring your brain back into that regulation zone to rock out your best life. Then the hijacker is behind you. You jump back into the driver's seat and you are now fully in control. You know how good that feels? I do, because I've helped thousands of people accomplish it. And if you need help in this journey, please don't stay stuck. A brain that has been trained in one direction is capitalizing on neuroplasticity, which I always say can be your best friend or your worst enemy. So If you meet with me, I can help show you how we can take that neuroplasticity and reset those pleasure pathways in your brain and in your life, getting you to set the GPS with no more hijacker in your car toward the life of your dreams. You can have it, but it may require some help. So schedule a meeting with me so we can talk. It's private. Go to drtrishleigh.com. Okay, now I want to reiterate this. In the essence of it, is masturbation inherently bad? Not necessarily, but it's the role that it plays in your life. If it's something you're going back to with consistency, frequency, with fantasy, and any level of intensity, it is controlling you. So I want you to remember, it's imperative that you control your brain or it will control you. Until I see you next time.